everyone, Karen the Warp Spinster here. Welcome to my channel where we cut and sew and see what happens. Thanks for joining me. If you are new here, welcome. I hope you find something you like. And for people who have been following for a while, welcome back. Today I want to do some more on Brillig. This is sort of like the Alice quilt, but not really, because Alice was very disjointed. I'm sort of progressively moving on this. I may take a break at some point, but I do have more of the yellow and the green, both the yellow and the green coming, so I won't feel so constrained, and who knows how large this quilt may turn out to be. What I think I want to do today is, first of all, press this while I'm chatting with you, do a sort of a grass-like, wildflowery-like something or other, tall, long panel, because little baby Brilligs, little baby toves, tiny toves, will want something that they can climb on. So we will do that. I still haven't figured out, are toves mammals or do they lay eggs? I don't know yet. I don't know that I'll deal with that particular thing, but no, we're going to have little tiny toves at some point, however they arrive. So what I think I want to do, again, I just want the white to be accent in this quilt. So I think the white is going to be the grass, and they're going to be gyring and gimbling. Is it gyring and gimbering? Try that again. Gyring and gimbling. Gyring and gimbling. Gyring and, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to say gyring and gimbling. And I want to do, I think, originally I was going to have just one color here with the white going through it and several, at least 3 strips winding through. But I'm almost thinking it might be kind of fun to try weaving it. So on this side, say, of this piece of grass, you would have yellow, and then when you put on this side it would be green, and when you cut into it it would be yellow again. So I'm going to try that. Maybe, I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm going to start with probably green because I have more of it. The fabric has shipped so that I'll be able to do some more yellow at some point, but I'm going to start with green. And I can make this as long as I want because I think I'm going to keep adding, start at the top and just keep adding pieces if it works the way I picture it. And you know it hardly ever does. So I'm going to start with cutting a piece of this, pressing it. You guys are always very forgiving of me not having everything perfectly pressed when I started. And then I will cut into it. I'm going to give it more width than I think it's going to be in the end, because as I'm cutting across it, I have to make sure that I have piecing and sewing room there. So I'll cut it, I don't know, maybe this wide or so. And I don't know, maybe like this. I'll start out long because if a piece is going to cross it, then I need to have a little extra for it to be able to cut off. So I'm going to cut a chunk and press it, and then we'll come back and start cutting. This is obviously not a professionally cut piece. I didn't use a ruler, but curves are perfectly acceptable for this part. Now, when I originally envisioned this, it was going to be very long and sinewy. And this, oh, there's another way I could do it. I might try something else too. All right, I'm just going to get to it. And I want to have some room to put, you know, circles at the end of it. So I have 2 choices. I can either, for this top one, I can either build that into what I'm piecing now so that a piece that overlaps, let's say this is the edge here, a piece would overlap it so that that comes to a point. Or I could just wait and add another piece at the top and put a circle on. But we'll see how it goes. All right, I'm just going to do, this doesn't have to be a really wild sort of curve. So I'm going to start with that and then cut a white piece for that. Now, another way that I could do that is to have this sort of blocky. So this portion of it could be green, and then I'll bring in a yellow portion, which will cut into that. I mean, there are all different ways I could do this, but I'm going to try it one way, see what happens, and we may try another way. All right, then I have some white, and I am going to cut that same curve from white. Give myself enough here. And someday I'm going to see about doing a quilt that uses just offcuts from other things. I have often tried to use the offcuts then later in the quilt, but it doesn't always happen that way. So I want to take advantage of this fabric as much as I can. So I have another piece, and now I'm just going to follow this curve. We've been here 1,000 times, but if you're new here, just using that as a template. So this is an improv curve. And I always have to catch myself because this is the piece that I'm going to be sewing to it. And I don't really have an option for a convex curve here, so I'm just going to mark up here where I'm going to put this edge together. And of course we haven't allowed for the 1/4 inch here, so it's not going to end up perfectly at this end. So this piece then gets set aside. This piece can get set aside, and I will stitch this right sides together, needle down, go slowly, make sure that the 1/4 inch is across from the needle and not the front of the presser foot. I have pressed the seam toward the yellow. Often when I'm doing something like a stem that I want to sort of lift up off the surface, I will press it toward that stem, which in this case would be white. But because I know from experience that this particular white shadows a lot, I've pressed it to the green because I don't want that shadow. Even if I were to trim this seam so that the green is cut further back than the white, it would still be more shadow than I want. So I am opting to press it toward the green this time. Now I have the option of doing this. So this is what I mean when I say bring to a point here, so that I could cut and sew that so it comes to so it's kind of spiky, and then I could plop the circle on the top, or I could make it consistent and just put the circle on the top. I don't know. I think I am torn. I am torn. Do I want it consistent or no? I think this looks a little wispier, and that's kind of what I'm going for. Although it would make it harder for the toe to walk up the side of it. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to back it off some though, because of course I've got the seam allowance to deal with. And I can make it however wide down here I want, or however wide or narrow I want. I think that's going to be, I don't know, that's going to be it. So that's how I could do it if I wanted green here. And then when I cut across it, I could make it yellow, or I could make this yellow. And then when I cut across it here, I could make this yellow here. So we're going to do that. Just, I don't know. I may hate it. We'll find out. So now I need to take a piece of yellow, and I have to be very stingy with my yellow for the moment until the fabric arrives. And then I'm going to cut a curve. Well, let me cut a curve in the white, and then I will match the yellow to that. So I'm keeping in mind that I have a 1/4 inch coming yet. It's going to be taken off this. So I'm going to narrow it as I come up here, and then I'm going to come right to the side. So when I sew that piece, then this will get caught in the seam, and I'll have a spot where I can put my circle, my seed, my flower, whatever it's going to be. And now I will mimic that curve and stitch it on. And I have to make sure that when I cut this, if I want that to be straight at the top instead of curved, I have to make sure. So it's a question of where I'm going to waste fabric. So I think I'm going to do this. And we may be limited in what we can do today because I don't have all that much yellow. I wonder if I have a yellow curve already somewhere that I could use. I'm over here digging in my stash. I haven't left you. I do have a curve here, but that's not going to suit what I want to do. So we're going to do this, and then I'm leaving myself extra. Hopefully we can still get a curve for the next piece out of what's left here. That's the last of my yellow. I'm gonna have to continue with this after the fabric comes. So now again, I'm just going to mimic this curve and stitch it, press it. And I will see you then. And I see where my lack of abilities with spatial relationships has hoisted me on my own petard here. If I cut for the next piece, which I certainly could do, then I want some length down here cutting across it. So I should have just cut the full length of what I want and make those cuts from that. But can't do that now without more fabric. So let's think about this. I could still do a piece. Well, I could do a harlequin sort of thing where I piece something else and stitch it across here and then cut across it. I'm not sure that wouldn't look just a little bit too disjointed. I could stitch on just green here since I have more of that. And then cut through and just have this at the top. Or I could think about well, let's do that much. And then maybe I would, I don't know, stitch on, when I get more yellow, stitch on a piece of yellow and cut through that. So I'm going to cut a pretty long piece here, excuse me, because I want this next piece to come up this way. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe ugly as all get out. Nix that. I would not have the extension here, the length of this that I want, because cutting across it would chop that piece off, and it's just sort of growing out of this other one. So we're just going to do something with this particular piece. And I think what I might do is just sort of a short one here. Go like this. And then insert a white piece in there. It will be a short little piece, but you know, maybe that's all right. We'll see what we can do with it when we're finished. So I will insert a white piece in there. Wouldn't it be nice if that was actually the length that I wanted? We're going to make it work. So, sorry I left you there for a moment. I had a frog in my throat. Fall allergies, yay! All right, and so I will cut that, and so that curve, and then I will cut it to match that curve. We're going to see how this goes. We're just flying by the seats of our pants, which in the writing world is called pantsing it. We have quite an interesting shape here, but we only have 2 of these, and you know I don't like 2 of anything. So I could either cut from the side and make another short one here, or I could cut through here. I think I won't though. I think I will take a piece here, make it quite short. It's going to be pretty curved, but quite short. And then insert a piece into that, which will make it an even funkier shape. We're into funky. It'll be all right. Oh, I could cut this out of green though. How would that look? So I'd have the white, but then there would be green over here. Another thing I could do, no, not with this one. Sorry, jumping around. Let's just go ahead and fill this in with white and then replace that curve. And then we'll do the circles, of course, but see if there's anything else we might want to do as well. Don't know. This is, I warn you, probably going to remain a very funky kind of video today, so act accordingly, I suppose. Respond as you wish. And of course, you may always be shouting to me what you think I should do. One fine day I'll be able to hear you, I'm hoping. All right, I've got lots of there. So I'm going to, you've seen me do this, I'm just going to do this curve, put this piece in so that we end up with a point there for our circles. Now we do have a truly interesting shape. If I were doing something like the Alice quilt, then I might leave this, or I might add in curved pieces here. And that would certainly be an option for this one, but I've been doing straight line, blocky sorts of things for this quilt, except within the blocks. So I think I am going to trim it, and we're going to lose some things here. There's no doubt about it, but I will trim it so that I have as much left of things as I can manage. And, oops. This is the thing about improv, especially curves. You're going to be losing some edges at some point. And I could always add on pieces if I wanted to, say, cut this at this angle and then have like a triangular shape up there. That would certainly be an option. I seem to not have cut something straight here. Let me try this again. I did not. All right. Well, that one was really funky. Okay, and here is our piece thus far, waiting for embellishments, or it could be fine as is. Now at any point, of course, I could have put in some little strips or whatever, but since these are strips and spikes, I thought that might be a little over much. So now we can see about circles, and we have choices for circles. We could do white, of course, so we will try that, but we could also do some funky pink or blue or whatever, or a combination. So let me cut some circles and we'll give it a go. I cut some white circles and I quite like it. It's nice and clean and simple, but I like a little funk. So I cut out, fussy cut around a large pink polka dot fabric. And I could put pink in the center of the others as well, but I think that's just a nice kind of focal point. So then I thought, well, let's put on some, let's say whatever it is going to seed, and these could be little tidbits for the toves too. And just put some pink to sort of offset that, and I don't know, it could be just about anywhere on here. That's kind of cool, isn't it? It's a, yeah, I don't know, depends on how you want to draw the eye up. I actually think I like that better. And that's an option. Now, I like that fine as it is. That looks good to me. I'm thinking about if I added a piece down here that was just straight and it had narrow spikes, like 3 narrow spikes, and I did it with green, maybe yellow spikes, or maybe white spikes. Could be pink spikes. And then put 3 dots there as well. And I maybe wouldn't sew them together in case I wanted them apart. Oh, I did a half circle here, by the way. I could also wait if I wanted a full circle. I could also wait until I attach the next piece over and then add the circle on after that. The circles are going to be the last things to go on anyway. So I'm thinking, I think I'll do green base with white spikes and then have the pink dots just to tie all of this together. And because I'm running out of yellow, package should arrive soon, but it's not here yet. So I'll do green with white spikes. Am I changing my mind? If I did green with yellow, I could have green here and have the spikes going this way, except that then puts the dots right in a row, which might be all right, but I'm thinking maybe not. Well, we can figure that out once we do the spikes. So I'm going to, I'll probably just make like elongated, I'll cut a wider piece than I want, cut through, add in a long triangle, and then just keep adding on. Let me kind of cut how I would do that so you can see. As you can see, I wasn't particularly careful about matching up these edges because with funky angles and... All right, so it would not end well for me anyway. So I am going to cut this as long as I can. This was my beginning place, my starting side. So I'm going to take that as the straight edge to start with. And again, of course, I could cut these at angles or do curves if that was the sort of look I was doing in this quilt. But for now, all of my... Oh, look at that. It's almost exactly that width. So might as well go ahead and cut that width. I think I'm going to cut it off here because it gives a little extra just because you never know. I want to be sure I have room for the circles over here. All right. And I will leave room down here because who knows what I'll do there. So now if I put some, the pink circles don't even really have to be on the points. They could be like that. Or they could be right on the points. Looks a little bit like... Okay. So that's a possibility. They look a little like party hats on their side, huh? The Toves are having a party. Yay! Or I could do white ones to tie in some white here. I'll need to cut some white ones, but... Oh no, actually I have them for one of the Toves. I will grab those and come back and see how those look. Okay, see how white looks. It's not bad either. I guess it kind of depends if I want it to blend in more, be very background, or if I want to have a little punch to it. Maybe put a pink one in there somewhere. We could do an overlap. We're going to be overlapping some of the black and white leaves. So that would be a possibility here as well. That would be a little bit fun. Maybe. Give that one a little more room. That's kind of like that. It's a little bit fun. Anyway, that is going to be it for today. Perhaps next week I'll be able to do this longer version here when I have more fabric. Zoom out a little. You get to see my messy table. And that will be it for today, I guess. Next week we may do more Toby things. We may do more gyrene things. So I hope to see you then. Let me know what you think, what you would do to embellish this, or what color circles, or what else you might do with it. And I hope to see you next week. In the meantime, be well, be safe, be happy, be quilting. Peace out.